Hello everyone, welcome back to another Valkyrie video. It's been quite a while, so let's go over as much as humanly possible in the amount of time I can edit today. Well, my last Valkyrie video was 11 days ago, yikes. The new world raid for the Armored Pumpkin has already come and gone. It was a great event, and it had great rewards, so I hope you farmed it a lot. I was too busy farming it to make a video about it. As of today, you have a day left to redeem any rewards that may be hanging or contribution points that you didn't redeem. I autoed my team and gear on the first day and autoed enough to get near top 600. Sadly, I can't go over it now, but there was the special challenge for the world boss, which hopefully you were redeeming daily. And finally, there's at least one day left. I looked up a UTC calculator and the world raid summon ends. For US East EST, it's 2 a.m. Thursday morning, and most resets for EST are 2 a.m. But anyway, spend all of your currency here. Try to get as many copies of these as possible. In addition to the new lightning glaives, they had the other 3 come out as well. I tried to push for 3 5-stars of each one and I only missed it on a few of them. But these weapons provide a new level of power for PvE, and they will be staples on every account until the end of time. It was so strong to be able to farm all 4 of these from one pool, and the drop rate was not that bad. I don't know what exactly the drop rates were behind the scenes, but they definitely were an improvement. It felt like over the norm. But yeah, these other 3 items, the Black Dragon of Grief was available here, the Dormant Justice, which I got up to 3, and the Muffin Assortment, which I missed one more copy to make 3 5s. But yeah, for these type of gears in particular that are so limited to farm, it's probably way more advantageous to you to hold on to multiple 4-stars if you're not pushing up a 5-star with a bunch of extra spares. It's really strong to have as many of these on your account as possible. You see them ranked usage everywhere now. Anyway, moving on. We've still got the Halloween Apocalypse Party for 6 days. Gefiana is strong in her PvE niche, but not sure her relevancy in PvP. Gonna be pretty decent at least. And the Halloween box summon has the 2 heroes from last year, the Spooky Sakura and the Haunted Fairy Leaflet. When they first got released, they were boosted in the Volunteer ECB where you could farm blacksmith coins, but I don't see it now. Alter Saga is back, trying to make you pull on it again. You can skip every once in a while. The Circle of Rivalry has all 5 fights out now, and Elenige was the easiest from my account, and thanks to the Spooky Jord, it cleared up a slot for free pretty much. I'll briefly go over Circle here in this video, but it's in general a little bit more difficult than a regular content. The limitations of hero usage usually are the defining factor on these fights, which is a real shame. Alright, here's my team for Sangrid. This is supposed to be Elves, Therians, and Celestials, but you pretty much bring lift to anything, especially if you run her 1000 G-Power. G-Power is actually very strong in PvE, and it can bypass 10% extra of a CC to a race that shouldn't be brought to a fight. So I swapped my 1000 G-Power PvP build over to the first slot PvE content. If you're not providing her with greater than 50% to start, she brings that and then has 1000 G-Power on top of that, so she gives 60% to herself, and 60% CC res means you're dodging it more than you're getting hit by it, so that's a good start. I did not bring Ymir to the fight. He kind of just stands there and gets hit by fear, as well as the Shadowbound, and Ymir does not resist Lost, so he would be getting his 1st and 3rd gear slots hit by Lost, which reduces their chance they'll proc by 50%. Pretty much add Lost to everything now these days, just so you have to have Lost heroes for PvE. I think this one autos at about an 80% success rate, but I can manual it more times than not. Verosa lets you bring humans, elves, and Therians, and I would say her gear is by far one of the best equipment drops from this, being a triple hit that applies 2 different CCs, ignores shield and barriers, and applies 2 different buffs to 2 allies each. This is such a crazy gear for 1 equipment slot. For this one, outside of Lif, I did not bring Nisha because she overlaps and overrides Light Ring, and I want to keep Water Ring on people. Even my purple 5 Penguina handled it just fine. The only rough part about Verosa is the beginning of the first bar where you're first getting hit by the erode 10% from the fire crystals. If I try to auto this, it has much less of a success rate, but autoing this one, I only have about a 70% success rate. It's a lot worse at the beginning, but I'll pretty much know if I can clear it within that first 30 seconds, so the reset's not too bad. I farmed quite a bit, but I need one more drop. I would love to have one more copy of this so I could push a 2nd 5-star. I'm gonna hold on to that many 4-stars. I just need to farm it out, still got some time. Berg is not gonna happen for me. Acer Elf Dwarf. It's not in the usage for me. DL Bury can carry the damage, and I can, with a single boon, usually have Cerulean Ike's brand resistance be covered due to the second and third bar on some attempts, but Luteal is too valuable to drop in the amping and rotation speed, and Lif is hard to lose because of the damage boost to the team, but I could add Otter for a second boon. I've tried a couple other things. I feel like I'm farther away on this one than I am on Alfana, but I think I've pushed them both down to about 40% of the last bar with my personal best attempts. Alfana, you use Acer Elf Celestial. The Alfana gear immaterial block also seems like it's going to be very strong in PvE going forward. The double row 2 buffs and then double row damage with 2 different CCs and the light element down. It's pretty good. Honestly, this fight's kind of wackadoodle. The counter hero to it is a light hero that gets stronger for the more light heroes you bring, but she's so resistant to light, but it doesn't stop people from just running light down res stuff too if they have enough. So I was trying 2 different compositions for Alfana because I actually was having more success with a fire group. Yeah, I was bringing Islandall, Luteal, FS Vero, and Loader along with DL Bury, and I was pushing, and that's I think the clear I got my personal best, but this is going to be a tough clear. If I'm able to get Alfana or Berg, it would be pretty crazy. I'd have to number crunch and really theory craft on them, go through my equipment orders down to the T, and get really lucky. Elenige, I'm glad they finished it with a freebie pretty much. I know not everybody's going to feel the same, but at least my account was prepared. Hopefully you picked up the Spooky Jord because she's triple boosted and will also increase the drops, which I was very pleased with. It won't be as bad to farm. This is 1 drop because the Jord will boost an extra drop if you're boosting it already. Another strong one with 2 CCs, one of them to all enemy with a water element down, double hit. These circle gears are pretty good. Hopefully if you're able to farm them, you are farming them out the best you can. Everybody pulls their weight on this team. I've actually had Svi be MVP most of the time. I think I can full auto it 100%, and I one-shot it as well after I manually geared the first time. Spooky Jord has also tied Ymir in damage, so I mean I'm literally using 3 of the new PvE gears, the Scythe being the only one that wasn't available from the farm there, and the Glitter Rave, which was available through one of the events recently, one of the ranking ones, can't remember which. And if your account has Nisha and Lif, maybe you can pull something out with stacking more Light Ring, and she is not resistant to light. She has a small weakness to it, and the crystals in the back are also dark, so bringing more light is not bad. But the more earth you can bring, the better. Use the damage calculations to your advantage, and use the enemy's weakest resistance as much as you can. Unless you're going for some crazy strat that you theory crafted. But this all ends at the end of the month. Use the rest of the time in October to farm it out. Okay, the 3rd battle in the Ushering of Eternity came out for Besla. This EX group uses Dispel Block, which is only available from the new hero that comes out in the banner that one time. So I would not feel rushed on this one. This one feels like if you wanted to set a realistic pace for this, then they realistically should have provided another counter hero that we can farm, like one of the super infernal or heinous battle bosses. There definitely should be a free farmable option to counter these. You don't have to make them as broken and cover all of the other dispel groups like the banner heroes do, but we should definitely have a free hero that we can farm on our account right now, or one that you make an event for, or just put out some. Just don't let so many of your heroes go collect dust on the shelf. Remember the meta when Genesis Prince Ymir and Angraboda was on everybody's PvP team, and you had to have anti-Jotun if you wanted to survive the meta, which is what made Hyuga and Pseudo DMS 13 so great. You guys remember those days? Were y'all back playing then? It felt really cool to have your Angraboda and Ymir awaken to 26 because they were really strong in the meta. They're your bosses. Make them relevant to today and the content that you have now. Anyway, not going to go into this too much because it takes the Dispel Block hero. If you don't have Dispel Block, good luck pushing past S1 if you don't have. Let's see who the busted choices are this time. Yeah, the new Observer, Scorpio, Sagittarius, and Vindicator Mani pull ahead on top here, and V-Hell. And going forward, let's see how much ranking we got. EX3, no way. EX2, nope. EX1, nope. S3, we got 3 at 100%. S2, no one even bothered if they could push S3. Yeah, S1 has 6. Yeah, I don't have those 6. This was a slug through, and I don't have a ranking on this one either. Well, I used this. Trust me, I used it. I cleared it. These are all 100% for me. Yeah, anyway, if you manage to pull the counter hero in the first 10x like some people do and then post about and everyone gets jealous, then good job. You can probably push a little bit higher and maybe get some extra Erd souls this battle, but don't worry about it. What's a 4-star, 5-star Erd difference gonna do for you right now? I mean, she just now got ranked for the first time in one of the circle groups, and that's just because she's a strong support in that sense, but it's at least very niche and you're not gonna have it fully farmed out until all this is done anyway, so don't rely on her for that one niche and instead focus elsewhere on your account. The new box summon has the Just Desserts Charlotte. Charlotte. She's pretty cute. I like her. Got the little pastry and kind of Halloween theme with the spooky little guy. It's actually pretty cute. Free to play is not going to have the diamonds to be pushing everything all the time, so I went up to step 5 in APOC, but I don't know if I'll be able to get to step 10, and probably going to skip box just because, I mean, realistically, they'll have to bring the counter heroes back at some point, right? Unless you just want your EX Erd group to be that exclusive. Well, for me, around this cycle, I skipped altar, skip box, skip raffle, skip Halloween box because I got both the heroes from last year when I got to use them really well for the triple boosted in the Volunteer ECB. But I pushed APOC. I didn't hit yet, but we'll see. Halloween free summon is actually lit. I've gotten like 2 or 3 heroes on every account just from random luck. It's been pretty cool. That's 330 diamonds for each random one you're picking up here. If you farm that extra 2,000 a day to buy the 10 from the shop, then you can get that daily. All right, I think that's enough of summons. Let's go over the rest of the events. All right, before moving on, it looks like they made an adjustment just so everyone knows that the Halloween Gefion's all enemy stat buff nullify ignores grace correctly. There you go. All right, last event is the Fafnir Gildra Clash. So 8-star and after, he adds Gravity Field and High Leaf. So resist those if you're having problems or damage issues. So Fafnir was one of the only normal difficulty connect bosses to incorporate the hit barriers. So if you're wondering why all of your damage is a bunch of zeros a lot, it's because Fafnir applies an attack barrier to himself that takes 20 attacks to deplete. So unless you ignore barrier, your damage will have to count down by hitting into these 20 attacks, and he applies it upon every auto skill, which is done at the normal pace throughout the fight. Just nuke him with fire, and you can bring light if you want. Grounded beast, male, easy to counter. Only the range crystals provide the high leaf field and will skill gauge down front enemy. The melee crystals will skill gauge down 2 randoms. Kill them quickly or just bring skill gauge down nullify and ignore the crystals pretty much. This team was randomly the last thing that I cleared it with. Keep in mind there's no race restriction on this fight, and he will only do gravity field on the 2nd and 3rd health bars. Resist regular gravity. That's probably why I brought Noble all the way back then. New C Melv will dominate and just drop somebody for drop 11 because Skull will ignore barriers with B stamp. Nice. I don't even know if I'll bother try using Lif. It's just kind of lame to just always bring Lif. If she makes the clear faster, we'll see. I don't know if Rita and Aludra are also going to be really strong because they ignore barrier. And so, correct me if I'm wrong, but Ateam I think should probably answer this one at some point. I'll at least say it to have somebody recognize it. I mean, first I'd like to confirm that high gravity also resists regular gravity field, the same with Eclipse here, if high Eclipse resists regular Eclipse. Because it's not explicitly stated that she has a gravity field resistance. And so when she's put in the filter for resist gravity, she doesn't show up. So does that mean if something resists high gravity, it automatically resists regular gravity and you should just include it whenever you search for something that ignores gravity? Because if you're only searching for ignore gravity, you would miss the fact that Lif ignores it because she has high gravity resist. Or am I just thinking about it too much? Or should something be done? Somebody tell me so I can stop going crazy. I mean, yeah, V-Hell would be included if high gravity does resist gravity, so I don't know if it would even be worth it though. She doesn't ignore barrier. Like, I might end up going with this. I like Matoy as the choice for my all ally fire ring. He doesn't mess up the rings like Moonsort would, and he ignores barrier as well. Might try this for some spice. So some final thoughts before ending. The waterfall sword from Circle does seem pretty strong, but it feels like you're able to hold on to a bunch of 4-star copies instead of focusing on making 1 5-star. I'm gonna be scrounging for copies as it is unless I can clear Alfana or Berg, but all melee usage means probably better to hold on to multiple copies because of the high amount of CC on the hits, and it's a triple hit. Pretty good gear to have more copies of than one perfect good strong one. Pugilist Peak, let's see. I think the general consensus at the moment is the rewards need to be increased. There is not much incentive. It seems like the team building can be actually kind of tedious, but we'll see. We only have have a sample size of 2. I didn't even try this one. I didn't do much more than a couple attempts on the first one because it only had 1 day when it first came out, but we'll see. I think the consensus is needs better rewards or more incentives. If it's going to be that little amount of a diamond, then that just means the diamond shouldn't be the main thing. Have a little bit of shining stone, a little bit of ruby, maybe like 1 high boost per tier. Have a small amount of like 4 or 5 different good resources rather than just a tiny amount of one resource. Last note I wanted to go over was Superman and Trader. I want to push the importance of cycling world boss events like this one. This one was a great example. Really good incentive to farm from the banner that pulled the 4 really good PvE equipments. I didn't craft a single world boss artifact this time. I don't think they're relevant in the meta. Fear is resisted by Lith. So instead I converted everything into mana and I bought a bunch of knives to keep up with all the gear incoming, and I have capped out a lot of stuff. Another really cool note, they added the 1-star skill knife and ring to the Superman rotation, and now that it's here for good. This means you have full control over this currency, and they've also established a mana currency exchange rate for this item. So every item they do that for is kind of like a good step. That means we can control it ourselves as well with our resources. And I'm sure a lot of people are going to be running into inventory problems, and you know what, it is just a big issue in the game. We really just need to have more inventory or a way to get more. I'll farm some benchmarks and quests if you want to reward inventory space out of it. Make it worth it. You saw how many people just farm 30k coins for 110x of an altar and not get a hero. People will farm for stuff. Put a big shiny thing at the end of a reward and people will go farm for it. Right now people want inventory space, so let's make it happen. Because what's happening is you come in here and you have, I mean, you don't even, if you don't have any VIP, then forget about bingo bongo. You have a 500 storage by default, I believe. I don't even know if this is a VIP locked either, but I just went through and filled up mine because I have some issues. Like I have 29 5-star dragon bands in here, and that doesn't show how many I still have in my other. Anyway, this feels really bad every time I have to see this. Every so often I hit the button thinking maybe they just added more today, but it just shows that. Honestly, it was really challenging. It was a super inventory management game during these last events, and it still is. My last gear farms, like also having the 2 different gears like boost drops in the event and not tell us like, oh, you'll just want to keep 5 at a 3-star and then have like a random number be available from the shop. Anyway, if I can make room in the storage, all these spares are going in there anyway. But yeah, the Vero gear, I would really love another drop of it while boosted, and then I'd make my second 5-star, which would leave me with a spare 4-star, which is exactly what I did with the lightning glaives here. And I'm pretty sure I got that last lightning glaive within the last 4 10x's. It was pretty dope. Cursed Noble outfit, I haven't decided if I'm going to move up to 3 5-stars or keep the 4 at 4-star because of the double ignore barrier hit. Now I'm just thinking about Heroic Wanderer and having to hit 2 different organism types, and they're gonna have a barrier. Like, always keep that ignore barrier gear. So I might not even make the 3rd 5-star because holding on to more, I might need 6 to equip to 15 heroes like the Heroic Wanderer rotation. The Elenish gear, pretty good, like I said. Also a double hit with water element down. Gonna be stacking those element downs now all the time in the meta whenever you can. Same with the Sangrid gear. It has the dark element down with a double hit and nice all stats and sure shot to yourself. Sure shot being very great in PvE. But yeah, honestly, this recent obtained inventory is probably the most favorite it's been in years. This is just great. All this power and gear from equipment is insane on an account. I hope a lot of your accounts look like this, or you've at least started to gather some 4-star copies and have some good ones to hold on to. All right, everybody, thanks so much for joining me today. Keep on farming on in Valkyrie, but just the right amount. I know I've got a lot of video projects in the queue, and hopefully I can crank through them. Still have a lot of updated guides to cover and just content to talk about. I'd like to have the most up-to-date and cohesive teachings about the game mechanics as I can on my channel. Alrighty, everybody, but until next time, puts out. Cheers.